Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're venturing into some pretty unsettling territory.
We really are.
We're looking at how electronics and electricity are documented, really, as tools for manipulating people.
Yeah, and the sources we've reviewed, they detail some surprising, frankly, quite disturbing methods and devices.
Definitely disturbing. We know you want to get the core insights quickly, so that's our mission. Dig into these alleged techniques of electronic and electrical manipulation.
What struck me right away was the sheer variety of tech involved. From basic stun guns, stuff you can buy, up to, well, much more complex electromagnetic wave applications.
It really makes you think about the darker side of technology, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump into electroshock first. It seems to pop up a lot in these materials.
Constantly. Things like stun guns, electric staffs, cattle prods.
And the purpose? The sources say it's used to create dissociation, like a detachment during programming?
Right, or to erase memories after missions, and just generally instill fear and obedience.
They even mention physical signs like body memories, specific electroshock marks on feet, back, legs.
And the voltages.
Yeah.
Some examples are pretty high. Stun guns hitting 120,000, maybe 200,000 DC volts, applied right at the base of the skull.
Wow. And the memory erasure part, they mentioned shocking someone within 24 hours of an event.
Yeah, the idea being to stop short-term memories consolidating into long-term ones. It's chillingly precise, if true.
And pairing the shock with hypnotic cues, like the example, going over the rainbow, triggering forgetfulness when the sun goes down.
That mix of physical pain and psychological suggestion seems pretty central to the methods described.
The sources get really specific about devices, too, like a certain model of cattle prod, 10,000 to 20,000 volts, apparently used externally and internally.
Yeah, and handheld wands, different stun guns. It suggests a kind of toolkit tailored for different situations, some with wider context, maybe leaving different marks, like those deep red dots or even moles mentioned.
And it goes beyond handhelds. Wireless personal shockers, shock boxes, even adapting electronic bark collars.
It shows how readily available tech could potentially be repurposed. That's quite striking.
There's also mention of early-stage investigation into bigger computer-guided machines.
Right, and lists of companies making medical electrodes that could potentially be adapted. It raises questions about the possible scale.
And these impromptu programming sites inject drugs, put a metal band around the head, zap with 100,000 volts for 5 seconds.
Intense, leading to shaking, sweating, maybe a second blast, all done quickly, like 15 minutes.
Leaving the person with physical after effects and what they call robotic memory.
And the handler's spiral, book codes, triggers, programs all laid out. It sounds very systematic.
It really does, like a deliberate, organized approach. Even canes and staffs supposedly concealing stun guns.
It suggests this tech could be everywhere within that specific context. And the reports about kids in daycare centers, that's just horrifying.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, but just as disturbing. Microwaves.
Ah, yes. Yeah. There's a patent mentioned for a device implanted near the auditory cortex.
But to do what exactly?
To transmit microwave-encoded sounds directly into the brain. Basically, make someone hear things.
Sounds like straight-up science fiction.
Well, it ties into concepts like non-lethal directed energy and ELF waves that's extremely low frequency.
Used for implanting thoughts. That's what the sources claim, referencing a CIA paper even.
Yeah, and research on microwaves affecting thinking in rats causing amnesia. It adds to the picture.
Plus reports of high-tech listening implants used in prisons and Army research on pulsed microwaves transmitting voices.
It blurs lines, doesn't it? Surveillance, influence.
Yeah.
Where does one stop and the other begin?
The sources even float a hypothetical scenario linking Prozac, microwave towers, and ELF waves.
Suggesting they can trigger violent behavior for, say, a political agenda like gun control. It sounds conspiratorial, but the core idea is manipulating brain states with frequencies.
Definitely. And using harmonics, sound waves, to manipulate RNA pathways in neurons, embedding commands linked to audio triggers.
Like the Mr. Postman example. It implies a very advanced level of control, moving maybe from human programmers to machines using drugs, electricity, harmonics.
Classifying people by brainwave types alpha, beta, delta, theta, and giving them CIA code names like Bravo 2, Delta. It sounds like a full-blown program.
Then you get into the implants, microchips for tracking via satellite.
Potentially put in without consent. Mandatory for some groups, like agents or soldiers.
That's the claim, raising huge questions about privacy, obviously.
And monitoring implants, too, tracking body functions remotely, even EEG in divers.
It points towards total surveillance. which connects to that idea of world mind mentioned by Robert Mueller, or even fictional stuff like Colossus, the Foreman Project.
Professor Delgado's research on brain transmitters lasting a lifetime, activated by radio. That's unsettling.
Early implants apparently looked like bullets, inserted nasally, or were swallowed, and targeting pain-pleasure centers.
The sources list intelligence agency names for these. EDOM, EOM, RHIC, and terms like prime, freak, vital, human brain frequency.
And the LX system for encrypted communication, but supposedly intersecting with mind control programming for tracking. It sounds incredibly complex and secretive.
The examples of thoughts allegedly sent are terrifying. Murder your family, kill the president, hopelessness, specific desires.
And two-way radio implants, decoding brain activity, supposedly around since the early 60s. Hard to remove, too.
Let's not forget the accessories strobe lights at specific frequencies to alter brainwaves.
Right, like personal light and sound machines, synchro-energizers, manipulating brain states from beta down to delta, commercially available tech being used.
And research merging neurons with computer chips, tracking implants already existing. It shows the tech is constantly advancing.
The accounts from people like Carla Turner, surgeons removing implant, even if anecdotal, they add to this disturbing picture. Companies like IBM, GE, Honeywell, reportedly involved in chip development way back.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, the sources paint a really alarming picture. Electroshock for control, memory wipes, maybe daily use on some.
Yeah, the capability to electronically change consciousness, track people, monitor them, maybe even implant thoughts directly. Harmonic machines for programming.
It suggests powerful tools for individual and maybe even mass mind control, which brings us back to that crucial question.
Who controls these technologies? Who are the controllers?
Exactly. Thinking about something like that ALEX system, combining unbreakable communication with potential mind control, it's particularly chilling.
It really is.
It leaves you wondering, doesn't it? With technology getting ever more powerful, what really protects our own thoughts, our own autonomy, from potentially being influenced or controlled in ways we can't even detect? It's definitely something to think about.